Hi, I'm Rebecca Graham, and this is my informative industry presentation on reference for animation. Animation is acting, and what do actors do? They move, which brings me to my point that acting out your scene before and while you're animating is a good practice to help you better understand how your character will move. I learned this really well in my 3D Fundamentals class while animating a guy climbing up a wall on a rope. I did this movement really creatively because I couldn't go out and climb the wall. I leaned over in my chair, I planted my feet on the ground, I grabbed my headphones cord, and I pulled myself inch by inch forward as if I was climbing up the wall. As ridiculously as I looked and as goofy as it was, it really helped me learn the placement of where my feet went and where my hands were, as well as helped me get a better understanding of my timing, which was really great, and helping my person move when I got to the end of my animation. So as goofy as it was, I'll continue to do this because my teachers here, who have years of experience doing 2D animation as well as 3D animation for big companies such as Disney, always instruct us that your reference is key. I always wonder why that is, and if acting for animation is any different from normal acting, as well as what are some of the pros and cons to filming your reference. Well, we have learned through seeing as well as moving. And our brains understand how to move, so if we get up and move around, we can feel how our body changes. If we film ourselves, we can watch that later on and scrub through and see how every single part of our body is moving along, whether it goes all at once or if it lags behind. And we can feel and see the emotion of the scene, which leads me to acting. Ed Hooks is a renowned acting teacher who teaches traditional as well as acting for animators. You would think that acting was just acting, but it's not. Ed Hooks has discovered that acting is capturing a moment, and animating is creating a moment, which leads to why would there be pros and cons to filming this reference, because if you're filming, you're going to be capturing a moment as opposed to just creating the moment. So some of the pros are that if you film yourself while you're acting or while you're acting out your scene, you can scrub through the film later. You can scrub through later and find your key poses and possibly some of your more breakdown poses to help you get from key pose. Also, one of the cons is the fact that the human body is not quite as flexible and stretchy, so you're not going to be able to see the squash and stretch and exaggerated movements of the poses like a cartoon character would. But the pro is that you have the ability to go in later and take those basic poses that you've seen and give them the squash and stretch and exaggeration that you need. You can apply all the 12 principles of animation to your animation. You've got the ability. So basically, there are more pros than there are cons to filming your reference. In conclusion, this brings us back to the fact that our brains learn through seeing as well as doing. Animation is creating a moment, and the pros outweigh the cons of getting up and doing. So once again, acting out your scene beforehand and while animating is a good practice to help you better understand how your character will move. It can also help you create unexpected reference, which I have a great story of that I was animating a sneeze and I was using myself as the reference, and I sneeze very big. So that's what I was doing, and as I was working on my anticipations into my achoo, I animated myself into an actual sneeze, which was perfect because then I had absolute and utter brilliant reference to go off of and get the basic poses and then push them further. So, ta-da!